Hello, everybody. This is Shelley Hagen. I'm back today with the tip of the week. I wanted to just talk very briefly for new people that are getting involved in real estate investing and just starting to build your power team. I wanted to talk to you about how to engage with a lawyer. And so what I would recommend is that you have at least one, if not more, probably 2 to 3. I have about 3 or 4 lawyers that I work with here in my market. I use one as my primary lawyer that I work with on my real estate transactions and my corporate structure. But I do have other ones upon occasion. If mine are not available, they have too much work, I have somebody else I can go to. As well, I deal often with people that are in foreclosure, doing rent to own, and they need legal counsel, and it's a conflict of interest for them to use the same attorney as I use. So then I would refer them to one of the other attorneys so that there's a third party involved in an arm's length between me and the client that I'm working with. When you first set up looking for an attorney, you may or may not have ever dealt with a lawyer before. So you may have to, take a little bit of time. What I'd recommend is you go onto Google or Yellow Pages, .com and search for real estate lawyers or real estate attorneys, whichever you want to look under, and look for those ones that are specifically doing real estate as your primary business. You may have used a attorney for other reasons. It might have been a more of a personal or family matter, but they don't necessarily know real estate law as well as they do family law. They can do a real estate transaction, not a problem. Any attorney can do that. But unless you've done it on a regular basis, they may or may not be, familiar with the processes that we use as real estate investors. So I like to look for legal teams that do both residential and commercial real estate. And the reason being is that as a real estate investor, I'm looking for ways that I can get in creatively to deals through seller financing, such as vendor takebacks, agreement for sale, contract for deed, subject to those type of transactions. And so you want to make sure that you have an attorney that really understands real estate. And if they understand real estate and commercial real estate, they understand all of those things that happen outside of the norm. If they're a real estate attorney or lawyer, but they only deal with, mom and pops or buying their next residential home because they do a lot of business with, RE/MAX in their area, then they know the pretty basic transactions. They don't understand what it's like to work with a real estate investor. So I highly recommend that you look for someone like that. When you go to talk to them, I would set up an interview and get 2 or 3 of them, go to meet with them, set up some questions, and you want to ask them some questions like, do you deal with real estate investors? Are you familiar with people who are buying multiple properties? They're probably going to ask you how many properties you want to buy. And I remember sitting down across from them and saying we wanted to buy 100 properties. And I think the real estate lawyer thought we were crazy. 8 months later, he says, well, you girls were right on track because we were doing a lot of business through his office. And so the other questions that we asked him, were they familiar with things like wholesaling? Were they familiar with vendor take-back financing? Were they familiar with seller financing? Were they familiar with agreement for sale, contract for deed, subject to, the typical real estate transactions that you would deal with? And see what their, knowledge level is and how they feel about working with them. And also I want you to get a comfort level with the people. You need to feel that these people are going to represent you in the best way. As well, I wanted to know when I'm talking to them, do they understand corporate structure? And would they help me set up my corporations the appropriate way to protect me and my investors or whoever, my partners, whoever I have with me? And so that is, some valuable stuff to go through. And also, you want to have a discussion with them about fees. Right up front, I want to know, what are all the costs? If you're just brand new real estate investor, there's, different parts of the country, there's different fees that you need to work with, whether you're both in, Canada or the United States. In the United States, you have a standard HUD-1 document. You need to understand the process for that and ask them their fees and get some counsel if you've never done it before. It's good to talk to them about that. Same within Canada. We do a closing document. There's no standard format like there would be in the United States, but they're similar from one legal firm to the other. So you just need to ask them. And what are their fees and typically, and if there are land transfer fees or not. Very important because when I first started this business, I started in a province that did not have land transfer fees. And then we had started doing business down in the United States, and the states that we were dealing with didn't have land transfer fees. Then I went to Quebec, and lo and behold, nobody told me that there was land transfer fees. And they don't actually charge you for the land transfer fees till a few months after closing. Well, all of a sudden I got this bill in French and I didn't know what it was. And so then I had to talk to my property manager and I finally figured out what it was. I was shocked. I had no idea at that point in time because I was brand new as a real estate investor. So, get that information. Ask them to give you a detailed breakdown of what the costs are going to be. The other thing to keep in mind too is when we first started, the very first few deals, they charged us the standard fee. Then we went back and we were buying, 10 properties at a time per month. And we went to them and said, is there any way we can get a break on these fees? And he did give us a break. Now, there are standard fees by the province or state that you cannot discount, but there are discounts that can be done with the actual lawyers' fees for them and their employees' work. And so we were able to negotiate a volume discount because of the amount of business that we were bringing their way. So as you grow your business, make sure you keep that in mind because that is very important, if you're starting to buy multiple properties or if you're buying a very large property, perhaps they can give you a break there. There are some things they can't do, but some things they can. Anyway, that's just a very high level tip of the week. Probably come back at some point in time and talk further about it. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Let us know. If there's something you would like to know about and you would like us to give for the tip of the week, we're open to suggestions. Just give us, a list of things you'd like to hear us talk about, and we can certainly do that. So with that, I'll leave you for the rest of the week. Have a great week and an abundant rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Bye for now.